Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
All right, Hare Krishna. I've been speaking on one name from Vishnu Sahasranama, Naikakarmakrt, which, yes. Yeah, the meaning is that by one activity he fulfills many purposes. And I've been giving various instances of that. I'll give another instance. As Lord Vamanadev, he apparently punished Bali Maharaj and favored Indra, but actually he gave more mercy to Bali Maharaj. So by doing this he showed that even though it's stated that Indrari Vyakalam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge, he comes in every age to free Indra and the demigods from their enemies. But being a pious, powerful demigod like Indra might attract the Lord's protection for one's material position. Shaktimanam and Punyamanam. Did you say that? I think you missed that. Pious and powerful. Whereas if someone is superficially a demon, but he's a devotee, then Krishna favors him more. Actually, Bali Maharaj was acting like a demon to attack the heavenly planets and to depose Indra is the act of a demon. That's what the Devas and the Asuras, there's always some tension between them. But as Bali Maharaj was disciple of his grandfather, Prahlad Maharaj, who was also a great devotee, then Vamanadev actually favored Bali more. Because even though he removed Bali from the kingdom of heaven, he gave him a better place. And although Vamanadev is Indranuj, the younger brother of Indra, he left Indra's court and went to stay with Bali Maharaj in Sutala. In doing so, by apparently punishing Bali Maharaj, he also upheld the Brahminical culture. How did he do that? Because Bali had achieved extraordinary power by the grace of the Brahmanas, headed by Shukracharya. But Shukra, he forbade Bali to give land to Vamana, because he could understand what's going to happen. So Bali refused to follow the order of his guru. And Shukra cursed him and said that because you refused to obey me, all the opulence that you gained by my blessing, you will lose it all. So Vamana upheld the words of Shukra. Vamana upheld the words of Shukra by taking everything away from Bali. Of course, he gave him more opulence. He also demonstrated that even though one may have a materialistic guru, so-called guru, Vaman in this Leela, one's actual guru, the one who actually teaches about Krishna consciousness, is the real guru. Shukra was the materialistic guru. But Prahlad actually taught Bali about Krishna consciousness. Then also, by this Leela, Vamana showed the unpredictability of the personality of Godhead. You can never know what he's up to. You can never know what he's doing. First avatar is Matsya. So when Satyavrata, he was doing the oblations in the water, he saw a little fish. He didn't think it was the Supreme Lord. But that chiriyamina, is that what you say? Small fish. That very quickly became such a big fish that he couldn't be kept in any place except the ocean. Then when there was the churning of the ocean, everything was arranged, but it became a complete flop because the Mandara hill, which is being used for churning, just sunk in the ocean. So all this big arrangement, all the big demigods, all the big demons from all over the universe had come, and the whole thing was just a flop, failure. But then the Supreme Lord appeared as Kurma Rupa. Who could imagine such a thing? A tortoise big enough to hold up the whole Mandara mountain, Meru. Then Brahma, from his nostril came a pig. One of his 8 nostrils came a pig. Varahadev, the Supreme Lord. So it's quite unexpected. You don't expect anyone to come out of a nostril. Of course, he became very big also. But you can't expect God to appear as a pig. Sometimes the Muslims and Christians in India, trying to make converts, they criticize. You say God is a pig. Not the pig that you see in the street. Not like that. But the point is, it's completely unexpected. The very fact that we would not imagine that God could appear as a pig, but he does anyway, shows his complete independence. And you cannot predict how he will appear. Then comes Narasimhadev. Hiranyakashipu got so many boons. One of them was that he will not be killed by any human, nor by any animal, nor by any weapon. I forgot to say that yesterday. So Narasimha, he appeared, neither is not a human, because he's half lion, nor animal, because he's half human. And Narasimha killed him not with any weapon, it's not actually a weapon, but by his claws. So Vishnu is unpredictable. It might have been expected that when Bali and the demons had conquered over Indra, that Vishnu would appear. It might be expected that after the demons headed by Bali had conquered Indra, that Vishnu would appear. So they might have been expecting some big warrior, Vishnu coming as a warrior, or maybe as a very powerful animal kind of form. So they didn't see any powerful Vishnu, they saw a beautiful Brahmana boy, a short little boy. What could be more innocent or harmless? Even Bali Maharaj's sister, she thought, oh, what a nice little boy. She thought, in motherly affection, she thought, I would like to suckle him at my breast. Later she got the opportunity, as Putana in Krishna Lila. So Vishnu did come to rectify the situation, but this time not with weapons. He didn't want to kill Bali Maharaj because Bali was his devotee. So he just cheated him instead. But that cheating, that also was not cheating, because in the end he gave him something much better. And by appearing as Vamana, he also showed the great character of Bali Maharaj. That even if he had not known that Vamana was Vishnu, because he'd given his word, he wouldn't retract it. He wasn't attached to the great kingdom that he'd won. Yeah, so that also demonstrates the mercy of a Vaishnava, Pralad upon Bali Maharaj. That attracts the mercy of Vishnu. So in one of the verses in that section, it's stated, the name is given to Vamana as Bhuri Karmana. And Srila Prabhupada translates that to mean, by performing one work, he serves many purposes, which synonymizes with Naikakarmakrt. So shall I go on to another Leela? Yes. Not Vamana? Okay. Now for this So for this we have to, put off the phone. It's absorbed, forgotten everything, talking about Krishna Katha, forgotten everything, is completely absorbed in the cell phone. So for this we'll have to go to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And one of the more difficult to understand pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyway, his Leela is not very easy to understand. How Krishna comes as his own devotee is inexplicable. And his expressions of love and separation from Krishna are far beyond our ability to begin to understand. Now this name, Naikakarmakrt in Vishnu Sahasranama, is followed by the name Vatsaraha. And the next name after that is Vatsalaha. So Krishna is famous for his Bhakta Vatsalya, his affection and protection for his devotees. And that is apparent throughout Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very affectionate to his devotees. But the pastime I'm about to state is, it seems that he's being very cruel to one of his devotees. Chota Haridas. He's called Chota, that's to distinguish him from Haridas Thakur. He was one of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri. One day, one of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates, Bhagavan Acharya, he had invited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come to his place to honor Noon Prasadam, Madhyana Bhojanam. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and he praised the cooking is very nice, and he especially said the rice was very nice, and he asked who had begged that rice. It was Bhagavan Acharya. By the name Acharya you can understand that he's from a Brahminical background, so he would have begged that. So he didn't. So who begged the rice? He gave the answer, Chota Haridas. He had sent Chota Haridas to bring rice. He said he begged it from Madhavi Devi. So Madhavi Devi is described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita as a great devotee, elderly, very renounced. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went back to his own residence, and he told, who did he tell? Was it Govinda? I think it was Govinda, his servant, that, is it? That from now on, you tell everyone that this Haridas, he should not come to see me anymore. No, he's not actually called the secretary, he's called the servant. You might have thought he would have told the secretary, who was through Damodar, but he told the servant. And no one could understand why. What did he do wrong? Haridas started fasting, but the devotees told him, anyway, whatever it is, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, within a short time his anger will die down, and then you can come to see him again. You have to remember that for the devotees, even 1 second not seeing him, it seems like 12 years or more. But after 3 days, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not relented. So the devotees told Haridas, anyway, he'd stop bathing, stop eating. You bathe, you take some food. His anger will take more time to die down. So they asked the devotees, what's the problem actually? The devotees asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that I cannot tolerate anyone who's supposed to be renounced, but who talks with women. Vairagi hoya kare stri shambashan shodite na kare moy. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't relent. After some more time they asked, can he come? No, don't even mention it. And Haridas could only, from a great distance, he would see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He couldn't come close to him. When 1 full year had passed, he went to Triveni. That's where the 3 rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, where they meet, and drowned himself. And someone coming from there, because pilgrims naturally would go on all these holy places, so someone came from there to Puri and said that I saw one of your followers. The news came that he'd gone and drowned himself there. So then they thought it was because Haridas had vanished after 1 year, and so they thought that must have been him. One day, Swarup Damodar, the most intimate devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was wandering with some other devotees on the beach at night. And they heard the sound of Haridas singing, because Haridas would sing in a very beautiful voice. So the devotee said he must have become a ghost. He committed suicide and he became a ghost. But Swarup Damodar, who was expert in Siddhanta, he said that's not possible. Because a great devotee, it doesn't become a ghost. About this time, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, so where's Haridas? You can bring him now, as if he didn't know. And devotees told him that, well, after 1 year he left and he's not been heard of, and it's rumored that he's left. So, at the end of this chapter, comes the purport. Summarizing this chapter, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that one should derive from it the following lessons. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is an incarnation of mercy, he nevertheless gave up the company of one of his personal associates, namely Junior Haridas. For if he had not done so, pseudo-devotees would have taken advantage of Junior Haridas's fault by using it as an excuse to live as devotees and at the same time have illicit sexual connections. Such activities would have demoralized the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and as a result devotees would surely have gone to a hellish life in the name of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Number 2. By chastising Junior Haridas, the Lord set the standard for acharyas, or the heads of institutions propagating the Chaitanya cult, and for all actual devotees. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to maintain the highest standard. Number 3. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed that a pure devotee should be simple and free from sinful activities, for thus one can be his bona fide servant. Thus one can be his bona fide servant. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his followers how to observe the renounced order strictly. Number 4. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to prove that his devotees are exalted and that their character is ideal. He kindly accepts his faithful devotees and teaches them how much tribulation and disturbance can be produced by even a slight deviation from the strict principles of devotional life. 5. By chastising Junior Haridas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his mercy toward him, thus showing how elevated was Junior Haridas's devotion for him. Because of this transcendental relationship, the Lord corrected even a slight offense committed by his pure devotee. Therefore, one who wants to be a pure devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should give up all material sense gratification, otherwise the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are very difficult to attain. 6. If one dies in such a celebrated holy place as Prayag, Mathura or Vrindavan, one can be relieved of the reactions to sinful life and then attain the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 7. Although a pure or faithful devotee may fall down, he nevertheless ultimately gets the chance to go back to Godhead by the mercy of the Lord. So by this activity of banishing Haridas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught 7, or one can understand from it 7 lessons. Hare Krishna. So thank you for all coming here. That you could come at short notice, at midday, on a hot day, is praiseworthy. Hare Krishna.